So allowing yourself to settle in your chair, using whatever props you require, perhaps under your seat, or using a cushion from behind, rolling it over to support your lower back. And you may like to begin with your palms facing down on your legs in a comfortable upright position. Allowing the body to settle there, perhaps closing your eyes or dropping your gaze. Aware of the weight of your body, the support from the floor and from the chair. Drawing your awareness to the contact between your feet and whatever you've got your feet resting on, the floor or books or cushions. And notice the toes, the space between your toes. And take your awareness into your feet, into your ankles, feeling a sense of space in the ankles. Up through the lower legs, the bones, the connective tissue, muscles, skin. All the way up to the knees, feeling the knees soft, gently bent, the backs of the knees, and deep inside your knees. Invite them to have space. Aware of your pelvis, making contact with the chair and the backs of your thighs, tops of your thighs, and those long bones of the thighs traveling into the hips. The lower back, the sacrum where the pelvic bones join the spine. A sense of being in your spine, following it up through the back of the waist, between the ribs, between the shoulder blades, to the base of the neck. A sense of space between each vertebra. Gentle curves of the spine. The muscles of the spine either side, allowing them to be comfortably supporting, but also in a place of rest. They're neither stretching forwards or backwards, they are being. A sense of your abdomen, allowing your abdomen to be free, open. Of your chest and ribs expanding, gently contracting with your breath. A sense of release through the shoulders and upper chest. Inviting the breath to flow through the entire body. Aware of your arms, elbows, hands, wrists, resting comfortably, supported by the legs, released from the shoulders, and space in the wrists, space in the elbows, and inside the shoulder joints. Inviting space in the neck, lengthen the back of the neck, release through the jaws, behind and around the ears. Aware of your scalp and the little muscles of the scalp, letting go of the hair and the face, the brows, around the eyes. Inviting the eyes to drop back into their sockets and the eyelids to softly close or gaze down. The weight of the cheeks resting on the cheekbones. lips lightly touching, tongue resting behind the teeth, and returning to the tip of your nose and your breath flowing. Breath flowing out, breath flowing in. Your whole body, right here, right now. Maintaining your eyes closed if you wish to, turn your palms upwards towards the sky. And this invites energy to lift a little. You may notice a change in the way in which you feel. You could keep your eyes closed or open them as you continue to work. Breathing in where you are, and as you breathe out, allowing your chin to drop gently down towards your chest, inviting a stretch through the back of your neck. As you breathe in, lifting the head back to center, and as you wish to, allowing your chin to lift away from your chest as far as is appropriate for your neck, inviting some stretch perhaps through the throat, breathing as you hold for a moment, and as you breathe in, returning your face to look straight forward. Keeping your face looking forward, but turning the head as you breathe out, looking around to the right. Breathing in, turning the head back to the center. And as you breathe out, turning the head around to the left. As you breathe in, coming back to the center. And as you breathe out, head tipping to the right. So the right ear, just lolling comfortably to the right. Lifting the head as you breathe into the center, inviting that same gentle stretch to the other side, perhaps noticing it's different on each side. The breath flowing. As you breathe in, bringing the face back to center. As you breathe in, lifting your shoulders when you're ready up towards your ears and squeezing. And as you breathe out, dropping them down. Breathing in, bringing the shoulders gently up towards the ears and sliding or dropping them down. Breathing in, lifting. Breathing out, releasing. And releasing and letting the arms gently drop beside the body, giving the hands a little shake. We'll begin by spreading the fingers out, stretching the hands as wide as we can, perhaps turning the hands up towards the sky. And as we breathe out, keeping that stretch, turning the hands and widening them still as we turn the palms down. Breathing in. As you breathe out, stretching even more if you can, turning the palms upwards. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, turning the hands back down. One more time. Breathing out, turning the palms up. Feeling that stretch and then softly releasing, perhaps giving them a shake or squeezing the hands in and feeling that contact, big stretch across the palms and then the closing effect. Working gently with the wrists. Of course, we can use the wrists separately, but if we bring our interlaced fingers together, turn the palms down, allow the body and the breath to work together, breathing in. As you breathe out, push one wrist down and the other wrist where it will go up. Breathing in, float back to the center. As you breathe out, push one wrist one way and you can bring the elbow down a little more. Breathing in, back to center. Breathing out, find that wrist stretch. One more time in the opposite direction, working with your breath. Keeping that same lock, bringing the palms back down when you're ready, turning the hands up towards the sky as well as you are able. Breathing in there, And as you breathe out, the same thing, but with the palms facing outwards this time. As you breathe in, float back to the center and inviting your wrists to go wherever they will go. We keep a slight stretch through the fingers. In, out. One more time in each direction. And you may find one side is easier than the other. One direction works more easily for your wrists. Back to the center. And then turning the palms down once more. Just check which little finger is on the outside. And slide your fingers out and slide them across one finger so you're interlaced with the other little finger on the outside. So palms are facing down 3 times each way, breathing in. As you breathe out, taking those hands, breathing in. As you breathe out, check those wrists. Keeping the movement with the breath. When you've completed your 3 in each direction, turn the palms upwards to the best of your ability. Deep breath in. And as you breathe out, finding that stretch in the opposite way up. Breathing out. Palms are facing out now. They're facing up towards your face. Breathing out. Keeping those fingers gently stretched. One more time. Into the center. Out. And softly releasing and give them a little shake. If you want to make little stretches and closes of the fingers. Interlacing the fingers now, once again, whichever way you want to, and the thumbs and wrists are together. So we brought the wrists as close as they will come. And keeping those wrists together, making gentle circles with the fingers. Wrists are together, and we make a fist, bring the wrists together, interlace the fingers. Interlace the fingers. That's it. Wrists together if they can. And rotate, keeping those wrists together. The elbows stay as still as you're able to. And then change direction. Very simple. Circling around with the wrists. Loosening those joints. And then we have to once again change the lock. So we lift the fingers apart, move them over one finger, and then interlace once more. And once again, you can gently move those wrists, palms together, wrists together, wherever they will travel. And the other direction. And when you're ready, releasing the hands, let them rest or bring them onto your lap. And acknowledge the sensations in your hands and your wrists. Drawing the arms down beside your body. Working with your breath. As you breathe in, allow the arms to lift up towards shoulder height. And as you breathe out, draw the arms gently back. So you're working with your breath. As you breathe in, they float up towards shoulder height, comfortably for you. Breathing out, lowering back down. And if you're feeling free in the shoulders, breathing in a little bit longer, lifting them a little higher. And continue to breathe out all the time you bring them down. Slightly longer breath as you take the arms further, filling those ribs, moving the breath up, breathing out long and slow. So you move with your breath. And then if it feels comfortable in your shoulders, you simply go as far as your arms will allow you to go today. Feel that full deep breath. And as you breathe out, allowing that breath to carry your arms all the way down. And repeating one more time, breathing in. Breathing out. Bring the fingertips to the shoulders and give them a little wriggle. And then little circles with your elbows going outwards. If you have a chair that you're going to crash into behind, then feel free to move forward a little bit now. And if you feel free in your shoulders, take those circles a little wider, a little bigger. If they continue to feel free, you can move the elbows perhaps a little closer to each other, a little further out. If the shoulders feel restricted, stay inside the restriction without pushing and forcing. Breathing in, up over the top, breathing out, around and down. And you can do this just as easily in small movements. Then wherever you are, pause at the sides and begin the other direction. Small inward circles from the elbows to the shoulders. Very small, noticing what you find, and as you grow them, if it's appropriate, go to the point where you feel freedom of movement, avoiding crashing and bashing into those joints. If you have the freedom today in both sides, otherwise keep them balanced, doing the same thing, you can do the big circles, bringing your elbows towards each other as breathe in, going up and out, breathing out, bringing them towards each other. One more time. And softly releasing those arms and resting. Observing the shoulders, the neck, the arms, as we've worked those parts already. Moving towards the spine, working a little bit now. Moving from the top of the legs, we're going to allow those buttons that we have, imaginary buttons on our body, from forehead, nose, chin, whatever you want to do, breastbone, navel, pubic bone. And imagining all those buttons are staying the same distance away from each other, almost as though we're balancing a book on top of our head. Hands can be either placed on the legs or in the crease at the tops of the legs. Breathing in, a sense of pushing that book up a little bit, but keeping it there as you tilt your body from your tops of the legs at your hip flexors forward, breathing out. Press down through your feet on the floor and breathe in to bring yourself back up. Breathing out, your breath, a little tip, you don't need to go far. Think of keeping that straight back. Breathing in, coming back up. Out, going forwards, 2 more times. And in, coming up. And then when you're ready, releasing for a moment and observing your body. But that's hinging the whole spine forward as it is. And if you're having difficulties with your spine, if it's becoming a little unstable, then that's one way of continuing to bend forwards. If your spine is feeling fine and you like to feel a little more stretch in your spine, you can do the more rounding version of the forward bend. But if you have problems with your spine, perhaps degeneration in certain areas, always avoid going too far in your bends either way, no extremes. But if it feels comfortable for you to take a slight rounding effect or a full rounding effect, we breathe in and push that book back up to a sky. And as we breathe out, we can tuck the chin and move those buttons towards each other. So the back of the ribs goes back, the back of the waist goes back, the pelvis tips back, and we roll ourselves down towards our legs. We push down through the floor, we can lift ourselves, unwinding those buttons at the front, back to sit tall. And as we breathe out, once more, we can roll forwards. And if you want to, you can roll towards your thighs, extending and stretching through the lower back a bit more. Pressing down through the feet, pressing down through the sit bones, lengthening the front as you breathe in. And those who want to feel comfortable with it could roll themselves down, perhaps resting their forearms on the thighs, keeping the head level, or perhaps folding all the way down and letting the head drop and the chest rest on the legs.
And take a few breaths if you're happy there. So you could either be very low.
You could be somewhere further up. Or you could rest your hands on your knees and round more the upper back if that's safe for you. So we have options. 2 more breaths in your back stretch. And then when you feel ready, press down through your feet, sit bones, and unwind yourself gently back to straight. Taking a moment to experience your body. How it felt to take yourself further forward. We stay in normally in a gentle range, a natural range, and this is looking at taking ourselves a bit further towards the extremes without going into any unsafe places, and inviting the spine to keep its mobility. Allowing the hands to drop beside us, you may be able to take your hands a little bit behind you, hold the back of the seat or the back of the legs, whichever you can reach comfortably with yours. And again, we are able to perhaps use those ideas of the buttons down the front to invite the body to move and enable us. When we go backwards, we're contracting the back of the body and we're lengthening the front of the body. So from the pelvic bones or below, top of the legs, we're lengthening as much as we can find through the front of the body. So that as we breathe in here, we breathe out, push the pelvis slightly forward and lift the ribs softly away from the waist, drawing the shoulder blades perhaps together behind, opening the upper chest and throat, opening the front of the chest, and possibly lifting the chin a little, but be careful of that head. Avoid throwing the head back. Work with the back from shoulders to pelvis and feel your back bend there primarily. One more breath and returning to center. Observing your body, noticing the sensations you have after contracting with your back. Now, the first time we do it, there's obviously some sensation in the back and it says, whoo, not used to that, particularly if we've been in bed or have got up recently. So taking the hands back, we'll return again and notice if this time it's slightly less sensation. Breathing in, as you breathe out, allow the length of the spine to close at the back and open at the front. So the back of the vertebrae are coming together gently. Be careful if you have any issues with your spine. And the front of the spine is just softly opening. Again, if you have issues, avoid going into that space. Making it a smooth line from your sacrum up to the base of your skull. One more breath. Find the breath wide in your chest. And as you breathe out, release yourself softly back to the center. Observe your body. Allow the arms to drop down beside you. And you may choose, as we take the spine into its lateral bend, its lateral flexion, that you simply leave the arms where they are. Keep the pelvis fixed and float down, perhaps towards the right side of your body. And come back to your center. So in this way, those buttons in the front, they stay aligned, but they might close slightly at the middle, or the chin come a little bit closer, but they aren't coming forward, they're only folding sideways. So the face is still looking forwards towards the screen. And you're back to the center. Those who wish to, using the arm, you might like to send the left arm up towards your ear, if that is comfortable for you. Possibly hold on with the right hand as you tip yourself over, opening through this chest and allowing yourself to breathe into it. If you find the side of the chair isn't available, the other hand could come across and hold the outside of that thigh to give you a little purchase. But safely stretch, find a stretch and breathe into it. Returning back to the center when you're ready and releasing both arms. And because it's two sides, you have an opportunity to experience a difference between the two sides. So we're changing sides. If the arm is all right, send it up. If not, leave it down, or bring the hand to the head and tip yourself over gently. You can use it with the elbow as the high point or the fingers as the high point. The arm can come closer if you wish. The other hand can come across if that's easier, or holding onto your chair. Find your side seam and breathe into it. Find your strength through the center as you breathe and extend through that side. Sit bone down, expanding through. And then when you feel ready, breathing in, lifting yourself softly back to center, releasing that arm. Experiencing both sides. And taking a beautiful deep breath in, expand across the sides of your body. We're going to loosen up the feet a little now, so with your feet perhaps on your block or the floor, lifting up your heels and stretching through the fronts of your feet, bending at your toes as far as they go, dropping your heels down, breathing in, breathing out. You might like to alternate one leg up, other foot, with toes stay on the floor or on your block. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. A few more times. And loosening the ankles, so you may come up onto the toes of your right your right toes, and then moving your ankle around. Almost as though you're massaging through the ball of your foot, wherever your leg foot will move. You're sort of dropping the heel down, lifting it up as you massage through, and then changing direction there. Working safely with your body. And you remember that this is another way that you can do things if you're standing up and holding onto the back of the chair. You do this action with your feet. And a little more weight then in your legs. Resting that foot down, coming up onto the toes of the other foot if you need to bring it a little closer to you, and moving the ankle around. If it helps to think of your heel, you can imagine drawing circles with your heel. If it helps, you could think of rolling around the ball of your foot on the floor. Either way is fine. It's whatever is most linking for you. Then rolling the other way. Working that ankle, loosening that joint. We've already thought of it in the body scan at the beginning of having space, and now we're allowing that space to work. Resting both feet when you're ready. Acknowledging space, a sense of freedom, release in those ankles. Now you may like to take hold of your right leg. Now if you have your strap, if you find a strap is helpful, you can pop that underneath your leg. If you don't need a strap, using your hands to hold your leg. We aren't going to lift it very high, just a little bit off the floor, so that we can take that lower leg from the knee down, and without thinking too much about the foot, turn the shin in small circles. They don't need to be big, whatever works for you. And then the other way, find your breath. And then thinking of your knee joint, letting that leg softly swing forwards and backwards. Think of it being lubricating for your knee joint, and placing it down. Acknowledging the sensations through that shin, lower leg, knee that you have different from the other side. If you're using a strap, change legs and lift it up when you're ready. And begin with the whole of the lower leg. So forget the foot separately. It's all part of the same thing. The whole of the lower leg doing whatever little circles it can. And then the whole of the lower leg, gently breathing it the other way. Looking good. And freeing up your knee by swinging that leg softly forwards and backwards. Finding the mobility in your joint safely, freely, as if you've dropped warm oil into that joint and it's being lubricated with that warm, soft oil. Placing that foot down, once more experiencing both legs. Moving up to the hip now. If you have any issues with your hip, take care today. Work with them safely and diligently. And as with the shoulder, it's helpful to think of terms of, if we're making circles, that we're making very small ones to begin with. And if it's disturbing, if it's aggravating, we desist. If it's okay, we can perhaps continue there at a very small level or increase the level as we find we have space, but always staying away from crashing and bashing into the hip where it is uncomfortable. So to be in your comfort zone. You may, if you're using a strap, place it around below your knee joint, sitting up tall, and that will help you to hold it up. Otherwise, your hands can drop around underneath if you have your arms long enough, and hold it up like that. So from there, very gentle, imagine drawing circles with your knee. And it's moving into the hip. So the bottom of the leg is still, it's being moved by the arms or by the strap. And these can be tiny circles, and you can stop whenever you need to. And then changing direction. And those who find it has freedom, of course, those circles can become larger. We're working deep into the hip socket where the thigh bone fits into that cup. Letting that side go and noticing any sensation you have in that whole area of the thigh and the hip socket. Changing legs either with your belt or your hands, sitting as tall as you're able, using the back of the chair if you require as support. And when you're ready, small, gentle circles, almost as if you're holding the end of a spoon and the bit of the spoon that stirs is in your hip socket. So if you want to think of your hip socket as a saucepan and you're stirring nice, smooth porridge in the saucepan. And your breath is flowing. If you want to get bigger circles, you can invite that movement for you, for your hip. When we change direction, we come back to start the small circles. Small circles, and then we invite the body to grow into the space if it is available, when it is available. Because we want to end this session feeling more mobile, freer, not stuck or in any discomfort or pain. Releasing that leg, your straps can come down to rest for a moment. And noticing all the way from your feet, through your ankles, through your shins, knees, thighs, pelvis, what your legs feel like. We're going to take a little more work with the legs, and if you have any issues with them, then just simply go where you can go today. We'll begin with our rotations. We might need the strap, but if you hang it on the back of your chair, it's then handy. And my suggestion is for this next one is that you make sure the sides of your chair are comfortable. If you have arms on your chair, then this one is going to be tricky. And you may find that you'll sit in your chair instead and gently do some version of this sitting in your chair, which I will explain when we get there. Otherwise, you can, bring your block or your support around to one side of your chair. And you may need to stand up and put your cushion or cushions on the chair edges if you have sharp edges on your chair. And then sideways, if we're able to, on our chair. So if you can't sit sideways, stay sitting on your chair facing forwards. If you can sit sideways on your chair, make sure your pelvis, you're sitting far enough back, so almost the backs of your knees against the edge, and that's why I've padded mine, so I don't get sore. And now my pelvis is straight, looking forwards. I'm going to breathe in and lift the crown of the head, lengthening, and take hold of the back of the chair. As I breathe out, turn my chest towards that chair, dropping my elbows and shoulders, and being in a rotation. Feel the bottom ribs move round, the mid ribs move round, the upper chest move round, and the head move round. If you're unable to twist, you can sit in your chair, knees forward, take one hand to the outside of the leg and rotate around your chair in that way instead. So staying in your rotation for a moment, breathing well and experiencing that rotation. You may find as you stay that you could breathe in, and as you breathe out, rotate a little more if the body gives you space. One more beautiful breath here, experiencing the two sides of your chest as you breathe. Inviting any more rotation if there's some to give. And softly returning back to the center. Those who have a chair that has no arms or things in the way, you could move your block a little bit towards the front and shift your pelvis, holding onto the back of the chair so that your outside pelvis, the outside side of your pelvis is off the chair. So you're only on one sit bone approximately. And then we're going to allow the leg to simply drop down from the hip and let it hang. Doesn't need to do anything else, just hangs. If you're sitting on the chair the other way, that's not going to be possible. But maybe you can walk the foot out a little bit and drop the leg, or slide forwards on your chair and drop it underneath your chair, holding onto the chair safely. Make sure you're holding on. So if that works for you, and just feeling some length and release. The best way, of course, is this, but if that's not what you've got available, then I appreciate that's not going to work. So from here, for those who have the side view, and you may allow stretch through the front of your thigh. That's what we're looking for. A nice quad stretch. We're opening through the front of the hip flexor, inviting opening through there. And we've got cushions on the side of the chair because we don't want to bruise ourselves with the edges of the chair. And we're breathing as we look forwards. Now, it may be possible for you to lift your foot off the floor and increase that stretch, but that may be not fun for your knee. And this is where your strap can come in. So you can make a hook with your strap, pop your foot and ankle into the strap, walk your hands down towards your ankle, and then perhaps support your lower leg with your belt. And gradually, working with your own body, invite that heel up towards your buttock. Be safe though, works diligently. Ideally, my other foot would be flat on the block or books. I could do with a brick here or another book underneath my block to be high enough. So those of you who have range can send that knee further back and lift that foot higher up, walk that hand further down, or possibly even some may find they could hold that foot. This is not something you need to achieve. The stretch in the front of the thigh and the hip is what we're looking for. And if you have that, you are doing it. When you're ready, release that leg gently down. Let it hang once again. You can release your strap. Put it back on the back of your chair, ready for the other side. And those who feel it's appropriate for them, and it may not be appropriate for everybody here today, slide that leg a little further back, perhaps pushing the heel away, not into any discomfort in your knee. Avoid damaging the knee. And possibly then rotating your foot around so that we're working towards a warrior pose on the chair. Front foot is down, back foot turned towards the front. And you've got this lovely expansion, and you may even wish to take your arms out to shoulder height. And you look along your front arm, that's the one with the bent leg, and breathe, sit tall, be strong. Warrior, going into battle. Perhaps even taking your fists and making fists with your thumbs up into Meridanda Mudra. Working upright spine, the gesture of the spine, and a full breath. Then softly releasing out of that pose carefully. If you need to, guide your leg back. Move your body back to the center, checking your cushions. And noticing the difference in the two sides. Then you can bring your support around to the other side, placing it where is right for you and working your way around. So if you're able to, if you can't remember, if you can't turn, you simply stay there and put your hand on the outside and do your rotation there. Otherwise, from here, with your balanced pelvis, starting with the bottom ribs moving around, then the mid ribs, then the upper ribs, then the shoulders, then the head. And you're breathing as you hold your rotation. Our pelvis stays fixed and our upper body rotates. And the head, if it wishes to, can turn further round, looking over your shoulder, according to your neck. Find your breath. Breathe here. Beautiful deep breaths, extending up through the crown of the head as you breathe in, inviting any further rotation as you breathe out. Be careful not to overuse the arms to push you, more to stabilize you. We could do this without the arms. 2 more breaths in your rotation. After that, rolling yourself back to the front, which is actually the side. Sitting on the side. And carefully, for those who are able to, shifting the body over. Make sure your block or your books are still there and you can get that other sit bone just off the chair. You'll know when you're in the right place. Whoops, lost my back cushion. You'll know when you're in the right place because you will have that feeling of stability, but also freedom in the other hip. And letting that leg drop, if it will, where it will, let it go. Initially, we don't need to push it anywhere. We can simply have it where it is. So it might be further forward, maybe simply dropped, it might be further back. It depends on your joints and your body and your length. It is what it is. Be where it is. So establish that. And if you have no sensation through here, perhaps slide your foot a little further back. Find that stretch. Of course, if you're sitting to the front, you may have slid that foot underneath your chair, holding onto your chair safely. And for those who wish to take this to the next stage, only if your knee will allow, you could pop your foot into your belt if you're using one. Slide your hand down. Make sure it's around the ankle and softly begin. Just lifting that foot off the floor initially. That may be enough. That may have increased the stretch. For some, you may want to send that leg a little further back or hold it a little lower down and invite the heel a little higher up. We are avoiding straining the actual joints, so we want to feel a length through the side of the body. This can be a slight back bend too, depending on how far your knee and hip allow you to go. So be safe. Breathe, work well. Honest effort. Press the back, push, pull the heel, whatever feels right for you. Taking yourself into a lovely deep stretch to the front of your thigh. A little bit of an opening through the hip flexor at the front. And for those who wish to, put the foot down, release your strap. And carefully sliding that leg further away, tuck the toes under if it works. So facing forward at the moment, well, sideways on the chair, but forwards. And then we can rotate that back foot around, opening through the inner thighs into our warrior pose. This can be narrower if you need to, and if you'd like to, taking your arms back out, facing the front, perhaps adopting Meridanda Mudra, feeling the gesture of the spine, upright, strong, breathing, and press down through that front foot if you've got a block that supports you well. Feel the power, feel the strength, going into battle. And then softly releasing, perhaps bring that leg back. And now you can rearrange yourself, shift your cushions, and come to sit back on your chair. If you need your support back under your feet, you can have that. And checking in with your body, how you feel. Noticing your breath. So taking ourselves into rotation, forward bend, backward bend, side bends. We've worked most of the joints in the arms and the legs, the head and the neck. So a little more dynamic now. So being careful of where you are in space and working diligently and safely with your body. If you happen to be limited with the space, or if there's two of you here, make sure you've got one person in front, one person behind. And once again, adopting our Meridanda Mudra with our thumbs. So fists and thumbs up. Arms nicely out. Support yourself. Remember, your arms are supported by your back. And working with this safely and diligently, this is to build energy. It's also a gesture which is useful for banishing fear. So think of ourselves as banishing fear. We're going to bend the elbows so the thumbs come towards the shoulders and then open out to arms held up. So this is strong, it's powerful, and we're going to move as fast as we comfortably can. And you may wish to use some sound in your head. Say to yourself, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. That is my name. As you move, Sat Nam. Keep those elbows up, keep that movement, find that strength. Notice how it feels. This is not easy. It's going to challenge you. When you feel tired and want to stop, keep going. Go through the barrier that says, I must stop now. Obviously not if you're damaging yourself, that's not appropriate. Keep breathing. Keep smiling. Send that fear away, no fear. We're free. Keep it going. The shoulders will start to complain. The upper arms will start to complain. Keep it going. Just a few more if you can. See if you can take it to 2 minutes. You're doing well. Keep it up. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. Few more. And rest. Let the hands simply rest. Perhaps close your eyes and breathe, noticing the sensations without doing anything else. Observe your body, how it's been stimulated, invigorated. Heart pumping, blood pumping around the body. And then to enhance that, we'll bring our first fingers to touch our thumb, extend the last 2 fingers out straight and rest the palms facing upwards. First 2 fingers together. The first finger and ring finger touch your thumb. Sorry, first finger, middle finger touch your thumb. Ring finger and little finger are straight together. And they rest back on your hands. Very nice. This is Vayan Mudra. This is to stimulate the air element, which is related to the Anahata chakra, the heart space. So you will probably experience this breath moving in towards the chest. So it's there to support our circulation, but also to help reduce stress and anxiety, reduce high blood pressure, and to encourage circulation to move all the way into the toes, into the fingers, all the way around the body, up to the head, down to the feet. So you may like to close your eyes and allow Vayan Mudra to work its magic. And serenity, calm. This is also about fluidity, the flow of the breath, the flow of the blood, the flow of the lymph, the flow of the digestive system. Fluidity, lubrication. As the blood circulates around the body well, it's able to deposit the oxygen that the cells need and also to pick up carbon dioxide that they've created to be expelled out into the world, for the trees to absorb and give us back the oxygen. A symbiotic relationship. And do we have that symbiotic relationship with ourselves and our bodies? Taking in what is good and allowing out what is no longer of any use to us on a physical level, on an emotional level, in our minds, knowing what is good for us and seeking to find those moments of joy and bliss and serenity that are our due. So as we work with the heart area, smile. Bring a smile to your face and feel the joy. Then gently release Svayan Mudra. Let the hands be free, palms up or palms down. And stay with that sensation for a moment. Until you feel ready to bring your palms together at your heart space in Anjali Mudra, the gesture of reverence. And send yourself a message of unconditional love. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. Namaste.